Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are TwinFinity.
We are back with a question and answer video. And we're actually very afraid to do this one because they're hard questions. And we don't even know the answers to some of these questions. We're going to tell you that right now.
Okay, I'm shaking my head because, as per normal, I haven't read them. But she has me all afraid.
And as usual, they're all like just copied and pasted in a Word document in the order that we received them. Yet they're all very similar questions or all tied to the same theme, which it's amazing how that seems to work. And of course, now we have our dog trying to get into the action of the party here. So before we start into this fearful, frightful question and answer evening.
She's got me afraid that you'll never see this. I still haven't read the questions, but we do have our usual little preamble story.
Yes.
It's called Bite of Banana.
Well, actually, if you say it the way we say it when it happens, it's bite a banana. Bite a banana.
Bite a banana.
That sounds kind of kinky, and it actually goes with the topics over the evening of sorts.
I'm doomed.
Yeah, it's trouble already.
Usually on Sunday mornings, I have waffles with peanut butter and syrup, and a couple of my waffles, I put slices of banana on. So I usually leave out a banana, or usually Angie remembers to leave out the banana for me from the fridge, because we store our bananas in the fridge. They last longer that way. Anyway, I have a banana to slice up ready to go in the morning. Like, I hate putting cold things, including syrup, on hot waffles, so everything I have is heated up, or at least a minimum of room temperature. Anyway, I slice up the banana, and I put my peanut butter on my waffles, and I put slices of banana onto my waffles. But in the meanwhile, usually there's more banana than waffles. So the last bit of banana, I feed Angie. Now, feeding Angie, she wouldn't call it that. I usually take the bite of banana bit still in the peel, and I give her a bite. But because she's so meager and miserly, as soon as she's ready to take the bite, I usually just give it a little extra.
Because I'm just trying to take a little bite.
Yeah, and I usually go, stuff.
He like shoves it in my mouth, so I'm like, this giant piece of banana in my mouth.
And then there's usually the little stemmy, roundy bit that's in the bottom of the banana peel. I get that myself. But she gets her bite of banana on Sundays. And if we're not around, and I don't have waffles, we lament the thought that we missed the bite of banana. Aww. So
it's quite ridiculous, really.
It is a ritual. Her eggs are cooking. She usually has more or less the same thing. Something with peanut butter and jelly and either waffles or toast and eggs somewhere. And her bite of banana on Sundays.
Bite of banana. Yep. You're funny.
It's very traditional.
It is. It is. You're probably not going to want to clip that on there because
nope.
You got a long question.
Long question right off the bat.
It's actually just a simple question, but then a bit of a story to go with it. So, yeah, and you're off the hook on this one because it's for me. So
it's for you.
Lucky you.
Okay. I'll probably still have a comment or two along the way, maybe.
Maybe.
And it makes me afraid for the rest of the questions because I just read the first bit.
Be afraid.
Okay, getting started. Did we have anything else first before we get started? Our fire is especially vibrant behind us tonight.
It's making like 11s of sorts.
I
don't know if it'll show up in the video like that. But
we think that it's burning brighter than normal. Of course, we don't have a video right now to compare it to because our video machine is making this video. So, yeah, I see beams of light from it all over the place going up and down. So
we had to light it because the pilot light was out. So just before we did this video, we're trying to figure out how do we light this again? And now, since it's lit, it's like extra fiery. It's appropriate with these extra fiery questions tonight.
It's pretty hot topics.
It's hot topics.
Oh, here we go. Ready?
Nope.
Okay. Angie, being a HSP, highly sensitive person,
Well
empath,
done.
and individual involved in energy healing field, how do you experience the sexual energy, such as high intensity connection inside your body? I experienced a kundalini awakening, and all 12 chakras started activating after meeting the person I'm connected with spiritually. It's been 4 to 5 years, and I waited for the sexual energy to tone down a little, but it has been the reverse. Whenever I'm in a 10-foot radius with the person, not only does my kundalini energy start shooting up, but my sacral chakra starts creating so much involuntary sexual orgasmic energy. Wow, this is pretty hot.
Told ya.
That it's hard to stand straight. The heart chakra starts lighting up and glowing. Whenever I see the person after a gap of a month, the sexual energy gets intensified in voltage like being plugged into a generator. There's lots of people that would want some of this. Can you like package it up? I'm just 25 years old, and even after 4 to 5 years, I feel the connection getting stronger and the sexual energy intensifying. I've decided to move to a different city, and I'm the runner because I can't handle the intensity. Would you recommend doing a QHHT, quantity hypnosis healing therapy?
Very good.
No quantum. Quantum?
Quantum.
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 Ah!
Yes.
So close.
It was very close. That's impressive.
Would you recommend doing a QHHT, see that bit I can get through, session and to help with the sexual energy? Or have any other suggestion? The person lives at a close proximity to my house, and the only conclusion I've reached is moving to a different city and hide till then.
So
well, yeah, you can dive first into this. I've got some thoughts, but I want to see what comes out
good.
first for you.
I don't have a lot of thoughts, so I'm glad somebody can contribute. So it's interesting how they addressed it to me because I'm the HSP and empath and involved in energy healing, which is all true. However, I've never experienced what you're talking about. None of it in that energy. And it's interesting how twin flames can experience the connection differently. For us, I'll say we, but you can speak for your own side of the connection. But we tend to more feel it not as sexual energy, but just as like a merging of our energies. Like often when we're in bed, we'll just feel, and I don't even mean like being physically intimate. I just mean like snuggling together. We'll often feel like our bodies have merged together, and we can't tell which limb is whose after a while. Like they all just feel like they've melted together. And we've also had the experience, we've shared this in a video when we were sharing our story videos. I don't even know which one it's in, but where we weren't living together yet, we weren't fully in union yet. And we had just met each other, seen each other for a couple hours. And then when we separated and I was driving home, I literally felt like a piece of my body had been ripped off. Like it was no longer attached to me, and it was devastating. And that's what we've titled Band-Aid moments, if you've watched our story videos and are familiar with that term.
It's like tearing off a Band-Aid. You feel like you've just lost something sometimes because the Band-Aid rips away things.
Takes your fur, takes your skin, takes pieces of your body. Yeah, so I've not experienced it in the way you're describing, but I've experienced it in other ways, and I know other people that experience the connection in ways that like they can taste what their twin flame is eating. Other people know when their twin flame is drinking because they feel, the alcohol effects. So we all have we all experience the connection differently. And it sounds like for you, it's very intensely in the chakras and in the energy systems, and specifically the sexual energy, which sounds awesome, but overwhelming all at the same time. So I can't even imagine dealing with that. And I can totally understand why you're saying, like, God, do I want to just move away for a while? Because being too close to this person physically is like very powerful energy coming through. As far as what to recommend, sure, QHHT, or even more so. Wow, Cookie's bringing out the big guns for toys now. Sorry. She's so entertaining sometimes. Maybe even doing some Reiki or other energy work with somebody. QHHT is good too, especially if you want to ask questions of your higher self and get some answers, because that's a great way to do that. But if you're wanting to learn more how to manage the energy, then doing some specific energy work like Reiki or touch therapy, or I can't even think of other things right now. Even craniosacral maybe is good. And if you can explain to the practitioner, what's sort of happening, that you have this other unique connection, and that you can feel their energy and your energy together, and it's very intense, and see if they can help you kind of like balance the chakras a bit, or manage the energy flow so it's not so intense, to maybe give you some tools on how to release the energy in different chakras. But also just meditation for yourself, and learning how to balance your own chakras first, and then work with your twin on a 5D level, and maybe practice, if you're guided to, merging your chakras together and allowing the energy to flow more easily, so it's not maybe so intense. So that's what I would suggest.
I've got a bunch of thoughts, and it's sort of like alphabet soup. You wish you could just stir the thoughts and they would actually make a sentence, or something that made a lot of sense. But
You're funny.
this kind of energy is very hard to manage, because it is actually a very demanding type of energy.
Oh yeah.
And it would almost make a bit of sense to see, and this goes along with what Angie said in a sense. It would be just wonderful if this person could find a way to morph this into, at least some of it, into a different style of energy that would be more useful. I guess I am missing some information out of this question, and I guess the information would be, is there a chance of you actually getting together with your twin on a permanent basis, so that this energy doesn't have to be bent around into anything else as a survival tool? I strongly suspect that if you were to get together with your twin, that this energy would then be able to release and become numerous styles of more useful energy. As opposed to attraction energy, it would be very possible that it would branch out into many other different layers and levels of different styles of love energy. As far as running away and moving away, this kind of energy, with the understandings that I have, which aren't necessarily terribly deep, but I do have some understandings of this style of energy. Running away from the energy source, energy transmitter, any energy triggerer, is going to be far less effective than one would hope, because the energy, the memories, the thoughts, they're still going to be there. They're still going to flare up. You might be able to reduce it. Maybe you might even be able to significantly reduce it. But if you're looking to just get away and start over with a different life, that's a little bit of a good luck. I think that energy is there for a reason, and I don't think that distance is going to quell it very much.
Yeah. It's about learning how to work with the energy and manage it, and use it really to your benefit, rather than having it control you. Learning how to control it and really play with it.
all 12 chakras started activating, you think that at least 2 or 3 or 4 of the other chakras that have not a lot of connection to sexual energy, you think that they would also be in need of some energy that would be able to allow those chakras to be maybe a bit more dominant as opposed to the sexual chakras, I would call it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really tough. This is not really one that you're going to be able to think your way through or move your way through. I would strongly recommend that you've got a right idea with the QHHT. If anything, just to try to get an understanding whether or not there's anything past life or interlife energy that is causing this outburst of energy that you're having. It would be great if you could have a different understanding, because even that understanding might allow the energy to flow more manageably. So yeah, sure, a QHHT, great idea in this case, because it's obvious that the person with this question just has no idea where this energy came from and what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yet it wouldn't just show up for the first time ever, this particular life. I'm sure it's got a connection someplace else.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And some other time else, however you'd want to word that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. The next question ties very well in. Like, I'm always amazed how synchronistic the questions are. Do you want me to read it? Or are you...
Well, actually, I just glanced ahead, and you're right. There's a very common theme here.
It's such a common theme. I'm quite amazed.
Let's bounce right into the next set of questions, because I think this is just going to end up being a discussion tonight as opposed to specific questions and then going on to something completely different. Okay, the next question is, what does it mean if you experience kundalini again? Just before this happened, I had a vision of a colorful snake between my twin flame and I. Colorful snake. There you go. I'll let you take that one on.
So, yeah, why I'm so amazed is this is so connected to the other one, because, when your chakras all light up and you're feeling such intense energy, that's often what people describe as a kundalini awakening. So to be experiencing kundalini energy again, it could be very much like exactly what the previous question was talking about, just feeling your twin, connecting with your twin energetically on a different level, and not even necessarily a sexual level, but just on all levels, because it depends, when you say you're experiencing the kundalini again, is it a specific chakra? Is it all the chakras? Is it, certain chakras that are lighting up, or where specifically is the energy? And that'll kind of maybe give you a bit more of a clue as to what it means for you. If it's energy specifically in the throat, then it could be that there's needing to be some communication between you and your twin, whether it's telepathic communication or 3D communication. So yeah, it's very dependent on where and what kind of energy you're feeling as to what it means. I think that's more a question for you to delve into and feel into, is, what I always do is put my hand where I'm feeling the energy and literally ask it, what are you trying to tell me? What do you need from me? What information are you wanting me to know? And you can even ask that of your twin too. If you're feeling the energy is coming from the other person, is ask them too, obviously on a probably telepathic level, because most of the time we're not in 3D communication with them on the journey.
Having a vision of the colorful snake, that to me just screams cord. People talk about cord cutting. This colorful snake would just be the cord, which to me, right off the bat, leads towards 5D communication. very definite 5D communication. If it was dreams involving the person, like going shopping or hiking or whatever, that would be more a request for a 3D communication. Colorful snake, that screams 5D.
Well, and the snake is also part of, it's like the symbol for Kundalini awakening, because it's like it's going up. It's like the serpent of energy going up the spine, which often people feel in the energy. So it's like an energy surge that literally goes up from your root chakra or even your earth star chakra all the way up. So yeah, could mean 5D communication. It could just mean a connection with your twin on all levels. Like if you're seeing, what did they call it, a colorful snake, kind of tune into what are the colors in that snake. Is it all the colors of the chakras? Is it just some of the chakra colors? Because then that will tell you which chakras you need to maybe focus on, which ones have been activated, which ones are intense with energy, and which ones maybe are open, which ones aren't. If there's colors that aren't there in the snake that you're seeing, is maybe those are chakras that are blocked and need some clearing, need some healing work. So yeah, very dependent. It's hard to say what it means because it's very dependent on which energies, what colors you're seeing, and what they represent to you. So I would tune back inside yourself and ask what that means for you.
The first part of the question was, what does it mean if you experience Kundalini again? What that means is, from my point of view, congratulations. Some people are happy to have experienced that kind of experience once. If you're in a situation where your development, where you go through a Kundalini and experience it, and then you plateau for a while, then you can experience it again, maybe multiple times in a lifetime. Wow, that's exciting. What does that mean if you're experiencing it again? To me, it sounds like you're on a fantastic spiritual path from a growth point of view. So, yeah, it's not something that's needs to be a one-off. So, congratulations, well done.
Yeah. All right.
Next one. Starts out with, do you have any advice for me? Most of the time the answer is yes. I have 2 twin flames and I have soul merged with them both. I cannot imagine having to live without either of them. I am shocked that this could even happen and am left with now what? Boy, I know somebody else who could do a far better job at this answer than I could. But again, I'll let you start, see if there's anything else I can chime in on.
So, first of all, as you probably know, if you do have 2 twin flames, that is a unique situation. Most of us have one. That's why it's called twin, not triplet.
Triplet flames.
Yes. And I have soul merged with both of them. I cannot imagine having to live without either of them. So it's interesting. We've done videos in the past, and I don't know if we've done like a specific video that I can link or if it's multiple videos, but we've talked before about a lady we know. We've met her personally.
Yes.
Who also has 2 twin flames. And they are actually both in spirit, and she's still very connected. So they have like a, how do they kind of put it? Like
it was a trifecta or something?
Yes.
Trifecta?
Yes. Well done. Yeah, and so they're kind of like that.
They're a triangle.
Yeah. So it's not about living without one or the other. At least it hasn't been in her experience. I mean, this is very unique information. We're not experts on this, so we're not going to say, yeah, this is how it's going to go. We don't know that.
She had them both here, and then one left to spirit, and then the other one left to spirit.
Yeah.
So she's had to live without both, but she didn't, from what I recall, she didn't really describe it as being really a whole lot of disconnection. She was still in
she
connection
was way
with
more
both.
connected even after they crossed
Yeah,
over. Yeah,
so
very connected with them.
so she didn't have the choice of having to imagine living without them. She ended up living without them, but not necessarily silently. She still has them strongly in her life. So
the point is not about, that yours might die. We're not at all saying that. We're simply saying it's possible from what we've heard from another that yes, you can have two, and yes, who knows what, how the dynamic can work. Maybe you will have a connection with both of them. Like you're saying, I can't imagine having to live without either of them. Maybe you don't have to. These are very unique connections, and there's no one way or right way that they work. It's for you to really tune in and understand your own connection and understand how it's meant to work for you, because it's your soul that has split into three instead of two and agreed to play out this unique dynamic. So tune into that and kind of start asking some questions of yourself, not necessarily to these other people, but inside, have a telepathically have a communication call with the three of you and say, okay, what's the plan? What are we doing? And maybe practice the telepathy and start learning more about your connection.
I'm going to turn this completely upside down.
That's your style.
That is my style. And I'm going to try to have a little bit of fun with this, but I'm not at all making fun of this. But the question of I cannot imagine to live without either of them. Who's to say that either or both of them would go to spirit first? Would the two of them have any idea what it would imagine being like to live without you? That's an interesting question. If you have such a strong feeling about how hard it would be to live without them, I wonder if they feel the same way about you. I bet that they would on a soul level. You're here together, the three of you, so there was obviously some point or some reason to be here. But if you were to leave them physically from Earth and go into spirit, would you stay in touch with them because of how you would feel if they were to leave you? How's that for an interesting question?
Interesting, though the way I interpret it, I don't know if she's necessarily saying she doesn't know how to live without either of them in terms of them leaving Earth.
Just live without them here on Earth.
Right, because Earth is meant, we as like not even a culture, but I don't know what to call it, but as a human race have agreed that we come in pairs. You have, there's two of you, you couple up. So having three of you is like not well accepted in the human dynamics.
Yeah, we often think in terms of pairs or pairs of pairs. Yeah, we multiply by even numbers. We tend to do that. So I cannot imagine having to live without either of them. Here's a question. Do they know each other?
Hi while you're up here first of all. There you go.
Do they know each other? That's an interesting question.
That would be an interesting question. Do they know each other? Yeah. Yeah. And do they know of each other?
And do they know of each other? And do they feel the connection, the three-way connection, as strongly as the person who wrote the question?
Yeah.
Not supposed to answer questions with questions,
Rob. I was
Rob.
just going to say we have more questions than we have answers.
We're getting more questions out of the questions than we have answers.
We told you this was going to be a hard video that we didn't have answers to. Okay, no licking.
She told you that. I get it now.
See?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is almost a question we should post online and let other people who have experience with this throw an answer at it.
Well, we're posting it online.
I mean, as like a typed question kind of thing.
Well, it would be interesting in the comments if anybody has any other thoughts, or if you are experiencing this as well. If you have more than one, we won't call it a twin connection, but more than one unique soul connection. Love to hear. Share your experience in the comments, so this other person can maybe have some other people to reach out to and share with. But the best advice I can give you is either, work with somebody that understands, first of all, the divine connections. They don't necessarily have to understand a triple divine connection, but somebody that understands soul connections, whether it's twin flames or divine partnerships or something like that. And again, maybe like the first person had said, is like doing a QHHT session. That might really give you some interesting answers and guidance. That was what I would recommend the most. And in fact, this person I have privately sent a list of some people that we would recommend to work with individually, and one of them does QHHT, and I think I did share that in the private message that I sent this person. So if you haven't already, that would be a place that I would maybe start, is do a QHHT session. Or now they're called BQHT as well. If you're not with the person physically, you can do what's called beyond quantum healing. It's the same session, but you're just doing it remotely, and it still works just as effective. So I think that would be very effective, because then you get to talk with your higher self, your soul self, and really get some deep answers, some guidance, some help from a higher perspective. So that's what I'd recommend.
All right.
So how does the next question tie in? This one
actually, it
doesn't.
Doesn't.
But the one after that still does.
Do you want to flip them so that we stay on the same topic?
Well, not really, because the next two still tie in together as well. So we might as well just answer it.
Just in the order that we got them.
Yeah.
We'll stay on path.
Sure.
Next question. Why is separation so darn hard, and why does it happen over and over? I'm tired and mentally drained.
Yes. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with compassion, with the journey of hell that this can be. Yeah. Why is separation so darn hard? Because it sure is.
And why does it happen over and over?
So, do you want to go first? You sounded like you were ready to dive in. I have things to say, but if you're like ready to charge.
I'll charge in with just a little bit.
Okay.
And why does it happen over and over? It's because our connection and our expectations of the connection, and nowadays especially our knowledge of the connection, creates such a complex connection that usually one or the other of the twin flames is completely overwhelmed by it all.
Oh, is that why you looked at me?
And then separation happens. Now, because of all this knowledge and the depth and the feeling and the strength of the connection, that's the part that makes it so darn hard. When two people who aren't necessarily spiritually connected meet each other and yeah, they like each other, but then they break up, it's just a whole lot of 3D on that level, and even they hurt for sometimes a month or two, and then they start to step beyond it and they continue on. With these deep spiritual connections that have got all this energy behind them, let's go back to question 1 as an example of a style of energy that can just absolutely make your life miserable. And who thought sexual energy would make your life miserable? I digress. Yeah, that's what makes it so hard to deal with. And of course, when you're trying to deal with energies and you're trying to rationalize why these energies are beating you up so bad, the energies are stronger usually than mental thought. So it takes all of your mental energy just to make a dent in how much feeling and stress that your soul is actually having to deal with. So yeah, mental energy is just gets totally overrun, and you become drained. It's a tough battle just to find balance. It's not like you can just easily defeat these feelings that you have during separation. It's just trying to find some way to balance them enough so that you can continue on day to day, week to week, month to month. I get that. It's really hard. Even when you try to inflict separation on somebody, it's so hard to get rid of those feelings and energies.
Yeah.
It's a miserable battle.
Yeah.
Your turn.
It's hard for all the reasons Rob said, and more reasons of when you understand what you're really doing in this connection, you're doing so much more than just for you and this other person. You're here assisting humanity's ascension, which means you've come, I say you, but I mean all of us, have come with really hard templates to clear. Templates of abuse, templates of trauma, templates of family discord, templates of maybe different races to work through, or different nationalities, or different genders. You're having to learn how to balance your feminine and masculine energy within yourself. Like, there's so many things that you're doing that you're maybe not even consciously aware of that make this journey incredibly hard. And I think a lot of us don't give ourselves enough credit for how hard this journey really is, but not only how hard it is, but how dedicated we are to stick the path. I mean, not that we really have any choice, let's be honest. We all know you can want to give up as much as you can, and the path still keeps pulling you back. But still, it takes a really advanced soul to do this work. And again, every time I say that, I want to clarify that we're not talking about ego and like, oh, we're all so great because we're so advanced. It's not about that at all. Most of us as twin flames have lived a lot of lives, both on this planet and other planets. And we've got a lot of skills. So we're taking on some really hard templates to not only clear for ourselves, but clear for our ancestors and clear for humanity as well. So we're working on a lot of things on an energetic and 5D level that take a tremendous amount of work and take a really advanced soul. And yes, I know when we're in a human body, sometimes it doesn't feel like we're an advanced soul, but we are. And that's why it's hard, because we've chosen it. Not that we've chosen it to be hard, but we've taken on some really big, challenging things because we know we have the ability to do it in order to serve humanity in the highest way that we possibly can. So remember that when you get really stuck in the trenches and it looks like it's just you and your twin, or maybe sometimes it's just you and you feel like your twin's even gone, you're really doing much more than just your work. You're doing work for your twin, you're doing work for the collective, you're doing work for all of humanity. You're probably even doing work for other planets that maybe aren't as, again, I'll use the word advanced, as humanity. And there are planets that are lower than humanity. It's hard to believe. Sometimes I think humanity's at its lowest.
I would hope that many, many more are more advanced than where we're at. But for the meanwhile, I take what I get. That's why
the journey is so hard, because you're doing a lot more than you might understand that you're doing.
And that is why when you throw separation in on top of that, which just seems like one of the only hopes for advancement other than grinding this along on your own, then you get separation that gets thrown in, and it just hurts so much because you'd rather be doing this journey with somebody who at least has a hope of getting it with you.
And you separate so you can do the work, because how it often works is you come together with your twin, you share energetically. You're not obviously most of the time consciously going, okay, this is what I learned, this is what I learned. But when you come together energetically, you're basically exchanging keys and codes. And you're giving them the energy that you've learned, they're giving you the energy they've learned. And then you pull apart and you do more work, then you come back together and you share your energy again. And then you expand. As both of you share your energy, you expand. Then you pull apart, you do more work, you come back together and you expand. Until you've both expanded enough and done enough work that you can stay together.
And grow together, as opposed to apart.
Right.
A lot of this separation is really just trying to get energies and even knowledge in line so that you can exist together.
Yeah.
So it's about learning how to live with each other. And then finally, when you get to the point where you're living with each other, then hopefully if you get that far, then you're able to grow together.
Yeah. So yeah, every time you go through another separation, you work on becoming more in alignment with yourself. And as you're becoming more in alignment with yourself, you're becoming more in alignment with your twin. And then again, the pull aparts and come back togethers hopefully happen less and less frequent, because you can, as you can hold more union energy, as you clear more of all those templates I was talking about and clear more of that shadow energy, you can then hold more light, hold more love, hold more union energy within you. And when you can hold more of that within you, you can hold more of it together as a couple. And then the separations become less often and less lengthy, less frequent. So yes, it's hard. Yeah, absolutely. But there is a purpose to it. It's not just about, causing us all a bunch of torture and more trauma. There really is a higher purpose to it all. And you're not just serving yourself and your union, you're serving the planet. So know that every time you do work, you're doing work for everybody. So keep going. Cheerleading, keep going. That was a long answer for a one sentence question, but hopefully it was helpful. All right, now we get back into sexual energy again.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
How about that? Okay, a reading I go.
Yes, you do.
Can you talk about what it is to hold a sexual energy for twin flames? What does that mean? How do we use our magic through sexual energy? I am already using my sexual magic to entice myself into a flow to help others through planetary work. But we are not in union yet with our twin in a physical way, just in a spiritual form. We are doing this work together on an astral sense for our soul group together. I'm a little bit speechless on this question.
I'll dive in.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm. It's like this question's coming from a point of view that I almost don't resonate with.
So sexual energy is actually really powerful, creative energy. Because when you think of the sacral chakra, that's a very creative energy. And when you think of where it's located, especially for women, it's, in the lower, where your uterus is. And when you think of what the uterus does, it creates new life. So sexual energy is incredibly powerful. And if we use that energy, not just for physical pleasure, which nothing wrong with that, but if you can take that energy and use it for manifesting, for creating whatever you want. Like this person has said, how did they word that? To help others with planetary work. Yes, that's brilliant. Like use that energy. And often orgasmic energy is when you can, like, as that energy bursts out physically from your body, send it out energetically as well to whatever it is that you're wanting to either manifest or create or heal or birth or grow, anything like that. Use that energy and consciously, whether you're like I'm a very visual person, so I see it like as a burst, and like I send it out and just manifest whatever I'm wanting to create at that time. But if you're more of a feeler, you can feel it coming out of you and feel it maybe like as rays. Like I see it as like bursts of energy, and but I don't mean to. But however you sense, feel, see energy, use it consciously to create and heal, manifest whatever you're trying to work on. I don't know how well I answered that. Was there more?
Well, there was a whole lot there, and this kind of energy, when it's felt by someone, is a style of energy that they come to understand. And for people that haven't been there, it would be more difficult to understand what this feeling is like. But based upon what I perceive, I know, these sexual energies are very strong in the third dimension, and it's like the fifth dimension or fourth dimension when they're finding a way to escape into the third dimension. They tend to do it in the most powerful way possible in that dimension, which could easily be for many people through sexual energy. So it's like sexual energy is is one of the few ways that the third dimension in a person's existence can bridge through to the other dimensions.
Totally. Which is why sex is such a
bonding moment for...
Yes. It's not just about the physical pleasure. There's so much that happens when you're physically connected to a person that's really on the spiritual 5D level, I guess. There's so much more that's happening on a soul level because that energy is so powerful. So when you can use it, and like this person said, they're not in union, but they're still using it. So I love that, because you don't need to be physically in union with your twin to use that energy. You share that energy even if you're not physically together.
This is so close to the first question.
Totally.
The two questions back to back, this would be a situation where if we were at a Twin Flames conference and these two people had these questions and they were sitting beside each other, they would get into a conversation, and the rest of us would just sit back and let them micro and macro analyze this all right to pieces. They would be conferring notes so much that everyone else would just be absorbing it.
This stuff that we're talking about, playing with energy, any energy, but specifically, I shouldn't say specifically, but what's the right word? All energy, learning how to play with it and manipulate it, and I mean manipulate in a
energetic way.
Right, like we're not talking manipulation in dark ways, but you're using energy, but especially sexual energy is mastery level stuff. When you can learn how to, I want to just make sure I have my words right. Like I was going to say control the energy, but it's not about controlling it. It's about learning how to direct it.
Direct it and or or allowing it to flow and yet still be along for the ride.
And being conscious.
Yes.
And it's managing the 3D and the 5D together.
It's about getting them aligned.
Right.
Aligning the interdimensional energies.
Yeah. That's real mastery stuff, is understanding how your energy works and then using it consciously to direct it in a certain way. So I love how this person says that they're already using their sexual energy to entice themselves into a flow to help others through planetary work. Wow, that's pretty mastery level stuff.
We're doing this work together on an astral sense.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. You don't have to be physically together to do that. Because energy is what's important here. And sexual energy can be created without physical connection.
There's so many people that understand sexual energy because it is so basic yet developable on the 3D level.
Right.
This question is almost, again, this is the second time I've had this thought of inversion. This question's almost inverted because based upon how the question was written, I would guess that this person is very highly spiritually aware, awake, whichever version of word you want to use, to the point that they get the 5D energy, but they don't know what to do to manage the 3D energy. Where most people are the other way around. They got the 3D down cold. It's getting it to mean something more in 5D that they struggle with. So this person actually has almost the reverse to what a normal question would be from this point of view. There was a very long compliment to the person who wrote the question.
Well, I do know this person practices Reiki, so they very much understand energy. So,
and of course, I have no idea who this person is.
That's
not fair.
That's very cool.
Uh,
how are we for time? Okay, perfect. We've got one more question. Funny enough.
One more question and 1 more minute.
And one more question that ties in with sort of this same stuff, so it's perfect to answer it.
You're definitely right. How many times do we have a group of questions that just turn a question and answer video almost into a theme?
Totally. It's very amazing. And when you look at this, the question after that, it's not related at all. So it's perfect
yeah.
Like this last question, the next one, is so perfectly tied in.
Okay. I just read the first sentence of that.
Okay.
You might be the first one to comment on this question.
I'm ready.
She's ready.
I'm
okay.
Ready.
I'm glad she's ready.
The last answer gave me more inspiration for this one.
I guess I better get reading. Some twin flame teachers believe the divine feminine needs to stay celibate in order to achieve union or reunion, stating that sexual exchange with others creates spiritual residue. That's interesting. That can be low vibrational because it is not with your divine masculine. What are your thoughts on sexual intimacy with others if the person is not your sacred partner? It depends upon whether or not that mirror that is created with your non-divine partner is actually something that teaches you something. Like it's sort of like one of those things where in order to know what you want, you end up experiencing what you really don't want. It can still create growth. See, I was going to let Angie start and I didn't.
I noticed that, but apparently you got some answers. It's good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on sexual intimacy with others if the person is not your sacred partner? Someone who is so concerned about this would probably not be just out there having wanton, like, random, let's go to the bar and pick up somebody for a night of one night standness. There would likely still be something worthwhile in the connection to be experienced. So I wouldn't say that it would destroy anything unless the person is doing a ton of energy work and it would interfere with that energy work. If a person's in an intermission in life, an intermission meaning an intermission in their growth in life, then probably this wouldn't interfere with much.
Is that what we call it? An
Intermission.
Okay.
But if you're really, really heavily into growth, then probably the celibacy would not even be hard to achieve, let alone be a question of whether or not it would be of benefit to either have or break. Your turn.
Okay, I need this, even though it's not a long question. There's a few things I want to address.
Lots of little embedded points.
Yeah.
Love questions like that.
So I'm not usually one to speak against other twin flame teachers, but I'm going to. Because I really have a problem when people make things on this journey absolute. Like the feminine must do this, the masculine must do that. You have to do it this way to get to union. Who is anybody to tell anybody anything like that? Your journey is your journey. There is no one way. There is no wrong way. There is no correct way. There is your way. And your way is the only way because your soul is the one guiding you. So nobody should say you have to do this if you want to get to union. In my opinion, when somebody tells you absolutes like that, run the other way. That's just my opinion. You do what you need to do, because I'm not here to tell you what you should do. But just like we've addressed in all these other questions, and just like we've addressed in this very last question, this person has already said she's not in union with her twin. And she is experiencing sexual energy. Now, she hasn't said or not said that she's experiencing it with someone else, and that's irrelevant because celibacy, as far as I understand it, is not just not having sexual relations with another person, it's not having sexual energy at all. And self-pleasure is fine. In fact, it's, in my opinion, very important on so many levels. We're not even going to get into that because that's a whole other topic. But as we've just expressed before, sexual energy is very powerful energy to create with. And it can serve not just the person themselves, but a global, a planetary, if you know how to work the energy and use the energy as we've shared in the last question. So to say that it's wrong to experience sexual energy at all,
yeah, that's...
I struggle with that.
I struggle with that too.
Now, I do understand when they're saying it can leave sexual energy, creates a spiritual residue of low vibration. It can. If you're just sleeping around with anybody and everybody, absolutely it can. But that might also be part of your journey. You might need to give away your energy to everybody so you can recognize what it's like to not have your energy.
To not have your energy.
You might need to experience the opposite so you know, oh yeah, maybe I don't want to do that anymore.
Yep.
That might be part of your journey.
In the third dimension, we say experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And if you're on a spiritual journey and you end up getting a bunch of energy that isn't serving your purpose because of something you've done, like overexpanding your sexual energy, especially with others possibly, well, then you're getting experience.
So again, if you know our story, we were separated for 17 years. Were we going to be celibate for 17 years?
No.
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 Nope. Sorry. Nope. But neither of us had, well, we might have. I was going to say flings, but I'm like, okay, I did. Okay. I won't speak for you, but I did. But I also had a marriage. I had a 6-year relationship. So I didn't just have, you know, one night stands where I was just throwing away my sexual energy and leaving residue. Did I do that? Well, I didn't have one night stands. But did I have sexual residue? Yeah, probably. But did it affect my union? I'm here.
No.
You know, I'm being a little bit aggressive in this because, again, it just bothers me when people are absolute when they tell somebody something.
Yes, no.
Right. Your journey is your journey. You need to do what's right for you. And even if it turns out to be wrong for you, well, it's still right because it gave you the lesson that's like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep. If you can define wrong, then you can usually get an idea what right is as its opposite.
You need the contrast sometimes. That's part of the human experience too. We got to get it wrong so we know how to get it right. And really, there is no right and wrong when you're looking at it from the bigger picture.
Isn't contrast one of the bigger words? That really, really is something that you'd want to have as a key word when it comes to this journey.
Oh, okay. I see what you're going. Yeah.
Resonate, contrast, mirror. Yeah. This is what these experiences can offer, is more contrast than anything.
Yeah. And sometimes, again, I don't think just saving yourself for your twin flame is necessarily the be all and end all. Maybe for somebody it is. Maybe for some people that's their journey. But is it everybody's journey?
No.
Probably not.
And you know, if you feel that you want to save yourself for your twin, and that's something that is noble to do, then for sure just do that.
Absolutely. Honor that.
Yeah, don't go out and be experimentative just because it might or might not be good for you. You got to know that that's what you want to do if you're going to go out and do some playing around and experimenting.
Yeah. So the real part of the question is, what are your thoughts on sexual intimacy with others if the person is not your sacred partner? Again, my thoughts are, if you're comfortable with it, then it's part of your journey and it's okay. Because how are you going to know if you experience only a sexual connection with your twin flame but nobody else? How are you going to know that it's different? And again, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not telling you go to the bar and pick up somebody just so you can experience what a normal connection feels like. You have to do what's right for you. But I'm just saying sometimes contrast is important. I've had regular connections, and not that they're bad, but it's given me the contrast of knowing what the connection, how different it is with my twin flame. So it was of benefit to me.
My thought is, if you're going to go out and risk learning some contrast, learning some contrast, at least try to make sure that there is some exchange of love energy.
Discernment. I think that's also what we're saying. We're not just saying just go find somebody. Yeah, you can still have connections with soulmates and even karmic partners that are important to your journey and the growth and benefit to serve your journey. And the connections, the sexual connections in those is just as important as the rest of the connection itself and the learning and the gifts that you get. I mean, you know, if you've listened to our videos, you know our story. We are not ones to say, you know, don't date others, don't be single for the rest of your life, because every single relationship is a gift and a mirror to you. It's not just your twin that's a mirror. Everybody is your mirror. So how can you grow if you're going to just stay walled up single for the rest of your life? You can't grow in all the ways needed to be in union. That's my experience anyway. Again, I'm not telling anybody to go
Yeah.
be in a relationship or not. You do what's right for your journey. But our journey, it served us to be with other people.
Can't deny that.
No. So I
Right.
was really on my soapbox over that one because I just don't like it when people are like, this is the way it has to be. No. Your journey is your journey. You decide how it has to be. So on that note, with all that intense energy,
Yeah, I think we've done really well. That was a tough group of questions.
yeah, although because they flowed so well, it got actually easier to answer them because when you answer one, they sort of all piggyback onto each other.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as hard of a video. When I started reading questions, I'm like, oh no. And I wasn't concerned because it's sex, we're talking about that. It was more like, these are deep questions. And I was like, I don't know if I'm into a deep video tonight.
And where did all these questions come from at the same time, more or less?
It was probably a video we did at one point, and these all came from a similar video.
Or maybe that just happens to be the topic of the year. Yeah, I don't know.
The theme of December with our hot fireplace.
Yeah, our fireplace is really warm tonight. I started out leaning back going, yes, great. Now so I'm going, am I catching fire? All right.
Not even a comment. All right, thank you for these very good questions, very intense questions. We weren't sure we were going to get through them, but we're glad we did. And,
Yeah.
I feel all energized after this. Gonna have to go use some of this energy and create some new things.
That's not where I went.
All right, time to go.
All right.
It's getting hot in here.
Bye.
We love you guys. Bye.